every time you try to do that, like every time you try to be someone else, you're robbing the world of their transformation. Like there is someone for who you hold the keys to transformation.
Welcome to Podcast Coaching for Kingdom Entrepreneurs. I'm Kristin Chadwick, your podcast coach on this transformative podcasting journey. Our mission, empower Kingdom entrepreneurs to confidently launch and grow podcasts, fostering a journey of being seen, being heard, being known, and making a lasting kingdom impact. This is Podcast Coaching for Kingdom Entrepreneurs. Your voice matters. Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Kristin Chadwick, your podcast coach. You are in for a treat today. We are traveling across the world today to Uganda with my guest today, Prima Jope, right? Prima Jope. And we are so lucky and blessed to be able to hear her story, to hear how she has come so far. And she's going to be an encouragement to my coaches out here today listening. You are going to want to take some time and just listen to her amazing story, her wisdom, and what she has to bring to us today. So welcome to the show, Prima.
Thanks for having me, Kristin. It's gonna be a bumpy road. I really hope people have like the seatbelts on.
We're in for the off-road adventure. Well, let's start with your story. Tell us a little bit about you, your journey, because it is so incredible.
I'll keep it as short as I have to, but just know in the context of where I was born and raised, girls are not meant to be educated. You give birth to a baby girl, best case scenario, she goes to school, learns how to read and write, and is raised to get married and be someone's wife. Now, I think by sheer luck, my dad didn't like that. And so my dad had somehow allowed his girls to kind of have the same education as the boys. And when I was born, I was just lucky that my dad actually thought that I deserved to go to school. And that's how we went through school. But like at my 13, I think I was 13, I didn't really know what my dad expected from me until on that day when my brother wanted him to go for speech day. Now, my brother wasn't always the best in class, but his grades were average. My mom always went to every speech class, but my mom is the kind of person who will love you anyway, whether you're the best or you're the last. So my mom will love you anyway, no matter if you're winning or if you're not. And so my brother got the courage to take my dad to his school. And the unfortunate bit that happened for him is he came third last for school. Like in his class, he was the third lap. My dad drags him home and says, son, look here, like, if this is your best, I'm going to ask you to go back to your mom and ask her to show you your real dad because I'm not him. And I was like, what?
That's harsh.
That was really harsh. But what I picked off that is that if I wasn't at the top of whatever I was doing, that the world would reject me. That's how I started to interpret it. Like, man, if I don't become the best in my class, if I don't become the best person in my profession or whatever, the world doesn't want me. I just felt like that. If my dad doesn't want me and he's my entire world, the world doesn't want me. And I think for me, that's how I went through life, looking for a way to kind of prove to my dad that I'm doing well. My dad also defined success as like you had to be a doctor, an engineer, or a lawyer. There was nothing outside of that. And because I knew that I wanted to be more like my mom was a business woman, I had to prove to my dad that my mom wasn't a failure, that what she did was also okay. And so I wanted to do business, but I wanted to make as much as doctors made and as much as lawyers made and much as engineers made, which was for me a very interesting twist because I ended up quitting my 9-to-5 in the past 4 years and I started my own business. When COVID came though, that challenged me because brick and mortar wouldn't work. And if you're in Uganda, there is no cardless service. There is no credit card stuff. It is give me stuff, get your money, go. And so it was like cash exchanging hands. And so when COVID hit, I was challenged because I couldn't do the business. But I wasn't even scared of anything else. I was scared of what dad would say to me, knowing that I was in a place where I could really run out of money. And I found myself looking for every way to restart my career. And I recall one day an ad popped on my Facebook. I clicked on it. It was Pete Vargas. He was selling, advertising Rise Up World. I went to that challenge. 30 days later, I was like, wow, there's another chance for me. This is it. This is what I have been looking for. There was one problem though, because the offer was $20,000. $20,000. That is 95 million back here.
Wow.
Said, how am I supposed to get 95 million to buy this thing? I had never spent $1,000 on anything apart from the inventory for business. And so while $95 seemed like so far, I was like, it's 20,000, but I don't know. I have 2K. And if I can start 30 days later, we can say, I sign up and somehow I start to learn that I can use YouTube to sell something. They taught that somehow on the event. And so I went on YouTube and I said, hey, you guys, I am in panic mode. I'm selling my store. And if you give me $5,000, this is what else I'll give you. So I gave away the database and I gave away the stock and I didn't know what I was doing. I just thought if I make it too good, people will buy it. And just like that, someone sent me money through my phone, $5,000, and bought my shop.
Wow.
And now I had $5,000 to spend with Pete. That would take me at least for like 3 months for my membership. I went through that membership, sold everything I had. Like every month, I would look around and go, this guy's going. The bed is going. The sofas are going. The fridge is going. 8 months later, I'd paid for the program. I still didn't know what to do to get people to hire me on the internet. But I knew how to sell things now because I had sold everything in my house. There was a mattress on the floor. Everything was sold. I was determined to get something else working for me. And so once Pete was giving me a chance, I was ready to take it. And so I remember I was in my house, broke like a joke. And my brother called me and he said, yo, mom has COVID. Now, in 2020, COVID was pretty bad. My mom is diabetic. She has high blood pressure. She's been on mental for like 20 years. And the doctor said, we're sorry, but we don't think she'll make it. It was so bad. The hospitals were full and I didn't know what to do. But what I knew is because my brother, I remember the brother of mine who was third last of class, somehow he got too scared. He turned around his grades and is now a medical doctor. So now at least we had a medical doctor and we had to find a way to save our mom. We take mom home and we have to like create an ICU, and it was so much money, no one had it. Everyone had to bring money. And so I said, if I have to bring $2,000, I have to find it. I had nothing at that point. I recall there was one lady who showed up as top contributor in my Facebook. Facebook shows you that this person is your top fan or whatever. I drag her in a Zoom room and somehow I sell her a $2,000 offer for a coaching offer that I did not have. I knew how to sell. She was trying to sell like a network marketing offer and she didn't know how to do it. And so I said to her, if I helped you sell this thing, would you care to listen? And she said, yeah. And so I sat with her, we made a plan together and she loved the plan. And I said, if you go and implement this plan, I think you'll be good. And she said, I love the plan. Do you offer coaching? I didn't offer coaching. I didn't know how much I should charge. I looked at her straight in the face and I said, yes. And she said, how much is coaching? And I said, $2,000. I didn't know what to charge her, but I knew I needed $2,000. So I said $2,000. And the next words from her mouth were, do you take PayPal? And today we're here.
Wow. Oh my gosh, that story. I looked at her straight in the face and said, yes, yes, I do.
I said, yes, it's 2000. And that's how I became a coach. Like I got that trophy and put it on my head and became a coach. And I figured out everything else from the school of hard knocks. And today we're here.
Oh man, that is It is so, I think it just so resonates with so many people that they're just building the thing as they go.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just say, yes, I do that. And you figure it out
Yeah.
because that's how it rolls sometimes. So
Most
good.
times. Most
Yes.
times.
Yes.
No
Okay.
one will
Well,
teach you how to do everything. Sometimes you just have to say yes, and the customer pays. And when you see that payment, you go, holy cow, how am I supposed to do this? And then now your mind goes to the solution.
yes. Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Okay. How is your mom? I want to know that.
Mom is still strong. Dad actually passed on a year ago,
Oh,
which was
so
like
sorry.
really sad. He passed on. Mom is still strong. Of course, she's still moving with her medication and stuff, but
Okay.
she's okay. At least I'm happy that she's still alive.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. That is powerful. Okay. So you have built this business, this coaching and consulting business in Uganda. Tell us a little bit about, okay, so you've got your first client. Now, what was the process to building up your clientele?
I got this client by sheer magic. I went and paid for my mom to be all right. And now I had to figure out, what am I going to do with this lady? I knew how to sell, but I didn't have like a process to take her through. And so what I did is I decided to do something which was like a done for you. I didn't know how to teach her, and so I did it for her. And then every time I would do it, I would just teach her. So I started to write small campaigns, small posts. I started to create small offers for her. And then I would just do it. I would give it to her and I would say, go post this. And then I would explain to her what I did. And slowly by slowly, she made money and she was happy. She introduced her friends. That ended up becoming a coaching program of like affiliate marketers who had offers to sell and didn't know how to sell them. And so I started really understanding what everyone's problem was, because most of them were like, I'm this affiliate marketer or network marketer, and I sell this water thing. And I'm like, yeah, but no one wants to buy a water thing. And so for me, I started to really understand that people needed to be people. And so I started to tell them, you're a person, you have a personality, you have stories. We can't steal that from you. So if you bring that to your product, you might sell more of that. And so I just started showing them how to do that. I just started showing them kind of how to give advice from your life. I said, you see, this is my story. No one has this story. You see, this is my lessons coming from a third world country. Nobody has this. When I share this, there's someone going, yes. And so I started to explain to them how to infuse like personality and stories and personal brand in what they were selling. And I kid you not, it became a 6-figure offer.
Wow.
And people started coming and asking me, Prima, can you show us how you do what you do? And that is how I started this, knowing, okay, maybe what I do is something. Because really what I did is I help people sell whatever thing they had. So people came with whatever it was, water, or it was, whatever high ticket they had. And I just would show them, now for you, these are your stories. This is the kind of content that you can write. This is how you can sell your offer. And off of that, maybe you can give someone Q&A every week. I just started showing them how to sell the offer in a way that nobody else was doing it, because everybody was attracting people and kind of sending them to the organization. And I said, what if you had something like a personalized experience for whoever buys your stuff? And people found it interesting. Clients started moving from like 0 to 6 figures. And I was like, okay, did I do that? Like I didn't even think I did it, because I was like, oh, like it can't be true. Like I can't possibly just tell you that and you make 6 figures. And so out of shock after shock after shock, I realized that I actually had some, I don't know, some skills that people didn't have. And for me, then I began to really like appreciate what I knew, because a lot of people didn't have it. And that's how I started. I started to get results. Clients started bringing more results. And then I just kept going on, first 6 figures, second 6 figures, 96K days, and we just kept running.
Wow. Yeah, it sounds like you tapped into something extremely valuable that we lost sight of, which is that tapping back into the humanness of who we are, like the human heart, and really helping them form the personal brand around their high ticket offer. And that is so brilliant. And I love what you said. People need to be people.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
good. So good.
There's a
So,
lot of these people who would come and they would be like, I'll try to sell your offer, blah, 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 blah. But then when we would begin speaking, I would really realize you're just good with video. So show people how to do that to sell their offer. And then someone would come and then they're saying all these things. And I'm like, but you really write well. So just show people how to sell their stuff by writing. And then another one would come and they're the biggest introvert. But when you start to speak with them in chat, they're very good at selling. And then they would say, you show people how to sell their thing using your DM skills. And people started going, what?
mm-hmm.
So I think most people are too close to the expertise. They take it for granted and want to solve bigger problems when really they're the best at solving a small and minute problem that people would be happy to pay for.
That is profound. So if you're listening to this, I want you to take an inventory of what is it that you really enjoy and that you're good at, and start to hone in on that. And of course, Prima can help you figure that out. If you're like, I don't know, I'm so lost in the world of selling that I've lost who I am, Prima's going to help you in that conversation. Okay, but I would love for you to talk about, even to the coaches that, even specifically to the coaches that are listening today, what do you think that they are doing wrong right now in 2024, as we're recording this? What are you seeing that maybe we need to shift a little bit as coaches, or we're just off course a little bit?
I'll tell you what it is now, what it was last year, what it has always been. Coaches are distracted. Coaches are doing all of the good things, right things in the wrong order. And that distraction takes away from the ability to take off as a business. And it just sounds like you're doing the right stuff. You're following the strategy. You're showing up for the business, but you're not taking off because you're distracted by what you think you have to do. That's what I can say about that.
Distractions. Yeah. What does that look like? Do you have a real story of a coach that has been distracted by doing the wrong things?
I wouldn't say they're the wrong things. I would say they're the right things in the wrong order. For example, when my husband Matt first met me on Facebook, which is a story that I'll be happy to share, he was really trying to become a famous YouTuber. He had videos that were getting 1 million views and all of these nice things, and he was doing this and getting into the weeds of YouTube. He was then doing low ticket offers as a YouTuber to monetize his channel. And he was making 6 figures, but it was taking him maybe 2 to 3 years to do that, if not 5. So to make 6 figures doing that, I think it had taken him, the shortest time was like 5 years. And so I sat with him and then I asked him, what do you really want? He said, I want to be sure that I'm making at least 6 figures a year. I said, okay, what are you doing now? And he was selling a lot of low ticket stuff. He was having like thousands of clients. And then when I sat with him, I realized the guy was like a born salesman. And then I said, what if you just showed people how to sell stuff? Would you love to do that? And he said, oh my God, I did that in my employment and blah, 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 blah. And I said, okay, so why don't you create a small coaching practice and show people how to sell? Because a lot of people don't know how to sell what they have. If I had a great offer, would you help me sell it? And he said, yes. In fact, he started my program, and in the first week, he'd like put 5 people, high ticket clients. He had recommended. And then I said, you have this rare skill of selling. Why don't we create a small process and help people through that process? I kid you not, within a month, he turned that into $128,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't do nothing. Like, I just told him, why don't you just create a facilitation where you can get a small group of people and take them through the A to Z of selling high-end offers, because people struggle with that. And I was like, really? would anyone pay me for that? And I'm like, yeah. It's like, but how many people would want it? And I said to him, you don't need many people to make 100 grand. And so he had like 7 clients. Each one was paying him like 1,300 or something. And that was 128K in 30 days. I think that's when we decided, you know what? I have to marry this lady. Like, I want this in my life. I don't know. I'm kidding. I don't know if that was.
She's a gold mine.
I don't know. I don't know. That was one example. The other example is Florence. Florence, I met her. She didn't even have like skills. She was starting in the make money online space. I sat with Florence. She didn't know much, but she was really like a good listener. She was able to like take people through Messenger, and she would say, hey, Prima, can you send me the link to the 6K offer? And I would say, won't you want the customer to sit with me on the phone? And she's happy to pay. And so I had this Google Doc that I would send her, and she would just sign up clients for 6K. And I was like, you have this rare skill of closing in DMs. Why don't we build a little system for you, and you can show people how to do that? Florence in 6 months went from 0 audience, 0 skills, and became a 6-figure person. And so I think for me, it is all about getting people to cut off whatever they think they want to do and focus on like a few things which move the needle for them, where they can be of most help to the customer. I think that's how I can explain it. Because Florence was trying like 100 things. Maybe she was trying to add like 3 platforms on social media. And then she was trying to be on YouTube, and she was trying to do all these things. But really what her skill set is Messenger. And so I said, why don't you just take a few people through that? And boom, now she's a machine.
Florence the machine.
Sometimes I feel weird because I don't do much with these people. Like, people are just brilliant, and you just have to show them one thing and they take off and give you all the credit, and you're like, oh, I didn't do that. Like, you did all of it.
Oh, that's so phenomenal. And I think that's a gift of yours, Prima, is finding those nuggets of like, did you know that this is your special skill that you need to hone in on that? That's an incredible gift to have that skill of pointing out in someone else their magic in there. So absolutely. Okay. So what if you are, say you're a coach and you have gotten so far, and now I know I have seen personally in my own coaching and in other people's coaching where there's now this plateau. 2020 was like this explosion of coaching. And now we're 2024. Now it's kind of like flatlined at a plateau.
Yeah.
How do we break past that point now in 2024?
There's a few ways I've been doing that. And for me, my most favorite way to do it is really take inventory of your best month, your best year. And you'll be shocked, but a lot of coaches, they have this thing that is going well for them. They take off, they get their best month, and they stop doing it. They just stop doing it, and they get another thing. And yes, down the road, they're just sinking and sinking, or they're just plateaued. And you're like, well, let's like take back the months. Let's go back to the times when you were really crushing it. What was happening? And I kid you not, we get a campaign from there that worked, and somebody just shoots again. But that's not where I would go, but it's been one way to like let people know, you know what? This audience listened very well. This offer worked very well. This thing worked very well. And then I tried to upgrade it. I tried to make it better. For whatever reason, we're entrepreneurs. We just want a better thing or whatever. When the thing you have is actually working. But what I do with coaches who've plateaued, we kind of have to look at your offer. Like, do you have a clear becoming that you give me when I work with you? There's a lot of coaches that have promises that are like, what is that? And so when people have plateaued, sometimes they've lost touch with the becoming that people get when they work with them. What do I become when I pay? It doesn't matter what else you're saying. It doesn't matter how many bonuses you're giving me. It doesn't matter how many stages you're on. What do I become when I work with you? That's the first question we answer. Once we've answered that question, the next thing is, who needs that thing as badly as they need to breathe? Like, who could find that priceless? And so the first thing is the becoming, and the second thing is the who. Because if you are like a marriage expert and your services are for people who want to get the X back, versus your services being for professional moms or professional people who have challenges in their marriages, long-term marriage, there's a different vibe to those offers. I want to get my ex back for whatever reason. Versus, I have kids here. It's been 10 years. I've invested my heart and soul. This divorce is going to cost me emotion, money. I don't want to do it. Can you save my marriage? There's a different value of your offer in front of these two people. And so for me, the first thing really is, are we clear on the becoming that people get when they come to you? If that's checking, are we in front of the person who sees the gold that you have to give them? Because some people won't. And the third thing is, how can we get in front of them and demonstrate that we can actually do this? As you going, I can do it and I can do it, but people don't care. People want you to demonstrate that you actually can do it. And so what is that? Is it a lead magnet and then a conversation? Is it your speaking and then what is that? Like, we have to get in front of this person and move them from A to B and ask them if they want us to take them from B to Z. It's just as simple as that. And so when coaches have plateaued, I find that one of those three is not dialed in. They're either not clear of the becoming, or they are not in front of the person who wants their offer, or they're just not solving the problem. They are not demonstrating. They are not, like, you have to perform before you're paid. Let me say that. People these days have a lot of information. Everything is out there. So if you want me to pay you, you need to come and work for free. And that can be for 1 hour, which is a one-on-one call where you help me get a plan of the thing that I want. Once I have the plan, if I like it, and I go, man, I feel I can do this. I love this plan. I'm going to have her help me. I feel like those three things, most people don't do them. And then they go and add another platform, and then they go and run another ad, and then they go and build another webinar. You're not solving the problem. You're getting distracted. And so we need to focus on moving the needle, which is those three things. Once they're dialing, you get clients. Once you have clients, now we can move to the other steps.
So
I
good.
think for me that's where I would go with them. But if they're doing everything right, then we go back to, all right, let's talk about the best month you ever had. What was happening? And I kid you not, we always find something that if they do now, they'll get back up. And so that's my troubleshooting around stagnation, around
Those are excellent questions. And I love, what do I become when I work with you? Oh, that
because
right there.
when people are paying you 5 figures, it's not about the bonus. It's not about the next thing. It's not about whatever you're adding. It is the becoming that I get. That's what I'm paying for. If you're not really trying to sell petty things, you need to deliver something that people want, which is not how many bonuses do you have and how many courses and how many one-on-ones. No, it is, what do I become?
Yeah, so good.
There's a difference between the guy that pays for liposuction and the guy that is on the diet, whatever diet it is. The guy that is getting their fat sucked out knows that it's going to come at a price, because they will leave and maybe 1 week later, they will be the model that they want. Then this person who is on the vegan, you really have to kind of quantify for them how they're going to pay you. But the guy that says, you come, I suck out your fat, you give it a week, and you will be fitting in your suit, your wedding gown, or whatever. There's a price, and there is a clear becoming that I don't need to do anything to become that thing. And like, I'm very clear for me what I get. Whereas this person who's saying, you come to the gym, blah, 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 maybe I will, maybe I won't, maybe I'll do the work, maybe I don't, who knows?
Yeah.
And so it's harder to sell this hustle work because it depends on the customer to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the other guys, you pay the price, but your chances of success are higher.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I really want people to be clear. If you're trying to charge anything high dollar, we can't be guessing what will become on work with you. Like, we just can't be guessing. There's no time for that. There's 3 million coaches. You don't want to be letting people guess what they become when they work with you.
I have a keychain on my keys that a friend of mine stamped the word becoming in it. And for me, that word is about transformation. It's going from A to Z. It is this whole long process of how am I getting from here to here? And it is about the journey. And so that sticks out to my brain as a coach, as I'm thinking about my coaches that are listening. Really sit down, and even if it's helpful for you to journal it out and just write, like, what am I bringing to the table at the end of this membership, at the end of this course, at the end of this coaching or mastermind? I want you to become blank, or you are desiring to become blank. Think about that question. That is so, so good, Prima. Okay. You talk about something called the unfair advantage. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
The unfair advantage is the thing that no one can steal or copy from you. I'll give you a quick story. When I was learning to do this stuff online, Tony Robbins was always telling me how I can do it and all of that. He's a great guy. But I'd look at him and I go, well, Tony, really? I don't believe it. And then I was following Oprah, and then Oprah would say, you can become whatever you want. And I'm like, yeah, you say that. I don't believe so. Because you know what I was waking up to? No power every day. I was waking up to a lot of challenges. And then there was this guy, he has a business called Life Without Limbs, I think. He's a pastor.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
called, I don't know if you know him.
Yeah.
It's called Nick. He has no arms and he has no legs.
Yeah.
This guy, when I watched his video and saw thousands and thousands of people in the audience, I was like, when he said, your life is what you make it, you can become whatever you have. Just use what you have. I believed him. Now, I believed I could change the world because Nick has no arms. He has no legs. There's nothing about Nick that says he's better than you. I saw the guy moving stages. I saw his beautiful wife. I saw his beautiful kids. The guy was changing the world. I was like, Prima, it is on you. You have to do this. If Nick is doing this, it will be an embarrassment for you not to try. And for me, Nick was the reason I believed I could do it, because he didn't have any evidence on him that said he was lucky. And so your unfair advantage is that thing you have that no one can take from. No one can take the fact that he has no legs and no arms. And that's his unfair advantage. There's no one that can take away the fact that I come from a country where this work is a scam. No one is doing this. You try and take a payment on a credit card here, you'll be in jail. Like, that stuff doesn't happen. No one can take away the experiences I have working from here. No one can take away the resilience I've built because of the trouble. Maybe you've been doing this for 10 years. No one can take away that from you. So whatever it is, your unfair advantage, no one can take that away. Maybe you're Christian and you're super kind and super attentive, and that's what makes you a great podcast host. No one can take away that from you. And so I challenge people to kind of think through what their unfair advantage is and use it, because it's like a plus for you. It's like extra marks for you, especially in the game of trading as a personal brand, which as a coach, if you're not trading as a personal brand, you're missing out a whole lot.
Okay, let's talk about that, because the personal brand is huge, and that's how we know each other is through personal brand education. And let's talk about that. Why is personal brand important for coaches?
It is so important. I can't even explain it, because people buy from people. And if people don't like you, they're not buying from you. People will pay you 10 times because of who you are. Like, the information in itself won't take you far. The person you are is what people will pay for. People will pay for access, and people will pay to be in the same room with you. But you have to do the work to become that person who people look at and they go, I want what she has.
Mm-hmm.
But really, in the end, personal branding is you're a person, you have personality, you have experiences, and people buy from people. People are always looking for connecting tissue. And so people really buy for their own reasons. And what we have to do is show up and just authentically just give them whatever it is that we are. And there is someone who probably doubts themselves and they go, yeah, but Kristin is doing it with like 10 kids. I think I should. Like really personal branding is you holding a microphone for somebody who is afraid to do that for themselves.
Yes.
And saying it is okay. Like you can do that. It is okay to feel bad. It is okay to be intimidated. It is okay to be scared. It is okay to be how you are. Mm-hmm. It is okay because I am that person and I'm here speaking up for myself. And I really love being a personal brand because in a way you give someone else permission to give themselves a chance at something. Yeah.
Ooh, that's a one-liner right there. You give permission for somebody else to be exactly who they are.
Yeah.
And
I'll tell you an example of someone who, the lady, I think is called Natalie. Is that Boss Babe on Instagram?
Okay.
Natalie was a normal person. I was following her. She had like normal views. Everything was normal. And then Natalie got a baby and had a problem with her system. So she couldn't hold back her urine. And one day she was working out and she peed on herself. And then she said, I can hide this and just be in shame, embarrassed, or I can just share it. And she told the whole world. And that is how she got her first million views. That's how she got famous.
Wow.
By working on herself. And every mother thought like, oh my God, I like her. Because I was dying in shame for that problem. And so that's what a personal brand and really showing up as who you are can do for you. People feel like, oh my God, I like this person because they have no filters, because they're a human being. In a market where everybody's crushing it and having these awesome lives, people crave that normal human thing. And being a personal brand allows you to do that. And I'm a big advocate of knowing and growing carefully your personal brand.
Yes, I totally agree. And, you know, I tend to look at it in the way of how has God designed you specifically to show up in this world. And being you is a gift to this world, to yourself, to the people that are close to you, to the people that you're called to influence. And I think that's just such a testament to that's just how God designed us to be. Yeah. If we're trying to be somebody else, I can't come up and show up on the mic as Stephanie Gass, who is another great podcast coach. I can't show up and be Rachel Hollis because I'm not them. I am me. And I totally resonate with that story of showing up how you are. I am an introvert. I can be awkward. I can be kind. I can have a loss for words because my brain doesn't work that fast, but that's okay. But I'm showing up as me. And anytime when there's almost like a false identity that I'm trying to put on, it feels off. And then it feels like I'm not connecting with my audience. And I know that there are podcasters listening too, that I know I'm not alone in that, where you try to show up as someone else and there's just a disconnect because it's not your true heart and your heartbeat into this world. So, so good.
The thing that I would say is every time you try to do that, like every time you try to be someone else, you're robbing the world of their transformation. Like there is someone for who you hold the keys to transformation. Like Nick held the keys for me. Nick gave me permission to say, I can do this. Nick gave me permission to inspire people. Nick gave me permission to just show up as me, because if he wasn't the way he was, I would never have done this. And so every day when you try to be as cool as, I don't know who your person who influences you is, you're robbing the world of their opportunity to be transformed by you, because they can only do it if you're showing up without trying to be something else. So I really want people to get that, because I feel like every time you try to be somebody else is a time you're robbing people of your skills or abilities or uniqueness, if I can say.
Yeah. Amen. Amen
I
to
don't
that.
think God is happy with that. I don't think he is.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, he delights in who we are. So, all right. Well, as we are wrapping up here, is there any last words that you would like to share with our people today?
Let's see, the last words I want to share. I'll probably still draw from, I'll probably tell you the way I met Matt. I went on Facebook and I shared this story of my rock bottom. I was in a place where I had run out of money. I think I had paid and paid and paid, and I was like, out of money. I was so out of money, it was even a joke. Like, I went to a supermarket, I walked around, and I couldn't afford toilet paper. I was like, man, which one is 1 cent cheaper? I looked around, and every toilet paper was just like 50 cents above what I had. And I was like, geez, it's been 2 hours. I can't even buy toilet paper. It was so painful. I shared it on social media, and then Matt read it, my husband Matt. He read it and he said, I have never seen anyone on Facebook that is this raw and unfiltered. I want to know this person. That is when he made a decision to buy my high ticket offer. I want access to this lady. He bought my offer, he came into my program, and I didn't know his intention until they said, can I have a call? And I was like, okay. We had the call and was like, I know this is not appropriate, but I have been thinking through, and I think I want to date you, but I just don't want to date you. I want to get married. I know it's too soon for you, but I want to get married. And I was like, hold on, like, let's first digest the fact that you want to date me, and then we can go to the marriage bit later. Yeah, and I said, I know you want to take your time. I know it's scary, which is okay, but I'm just letting you know that in the end, for me, I want to get married. But I know that it's not a decision you can make in a snap way. And I was like, okay. Let's walk slowly, 1 step at a time. And then 5 days later, he says, can we have a chat? We get on Zoom, and he's like, I'm coming to Africa. And I'm like, why? He's like, I don't want to date here on Zoom. You may think I'm not serious. I am coming to Africa because I want to sit there. And whether it takes you a year or 2 years or 5 years, I'll be waiting to get married. And I'm like, dude, it's not been even 2 weeks since I know you. Like, it's okay. You can still reject me once I'm in Africa, but I'd like to come and sit there and just wait for you. And I'm like, and the next thing I knew, he had taken his resources, everything he owned, he had put it in a container. The next thing I knew, Matt was on the plane. The next thing I knew, my mom loved him and had invited him into the house. And I'm like, okay. The next thing we know, AI is ended and we got married last year. And so never know who is watching. Yeah. The only thing you can control is going out there and giving people the truth. You never know who's watching. For me, it was Matt. It was like the man I had on paper, A to Z. I had like 30 things I wanted in a man. Matt was those things, only 100-fold. Like, you never know who's watching. And so as you're looking for your dream clients and you're looking for, I don't know, all these things, sometimes you just have to show up as you and speak your truth and let the world filter through and bring you the people that deserve to be in your life. I think that's what I can say for people.
So powerful. And I mean, it goes right along with our tagline here, which is be seen, be heard, and be known. And how incredibly beautiful that it brought you and your husband together. And that is a testament to your philosophy and how we are created to show up authentically and real. And man, so good. Okay, Prima, you are a treasure to hear your story, to hear your wisdom. I'm waiting for that day when you start that podcast. But until then, where can people find you?
My most insights are going to be on my email. But for today, since I really love Kristin, I think her work is amazing. I love what she stands for. Listen, be heard, be visible. Is that the title? I really love what she does. And if you're listening to this and you would love a chance to have a chat around, all right, Prima, how do I get all this stuff into practice? And you just have to one of the call. Maybe you're stagnated. Maybe your business is not making you happy. Maybe you're not attracting the clients that you want. I'd love to give a free call. And to request for it, you just go to primajope.com/Kristin. That way I know you're from here. So that when you apply for the call, I can actually give you the call and actually show up for the call myself. That's what I would like to do for them.
Oh, that would be wonderful. And I have had a call with Prima myself, and it was so helpful. There's no holds bar. She goes right in and tells you exactly what she thinks needs to happen. So it is well worth your time to meet with Prima. And man, today has been such a gift. And like I said, keep shining all what you do and encouraging people and finding those gold nuggets in people and shining that bright. So I appreciate you, Prima. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Kristin. I will soon be coming to start my podcast, and I don't know where else to go other than here. So if you don't have a podcast, thinking of starting a podcast, you just need to get to it. I can't wait to start, and so should you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for listening today. Hey, I want you to know that there's an opportunity for you and I to connect. I would love to do that. Find a link below and we can schedule a one-on-one free 15-minute consultation. I want to hear, where are you in your podcasting journey and how can I help serve you and help you bring that kingdom impact dream into reality?